And this is KC9VKV, and good afternoon. This is the QSO-VLOG network. Between now and 5, we will be recording. And if you have a radio that you want to check out, give us a shout. And like I say, we are recording, and then we'll post it up on YouTube in the next couple of days. So you can go there and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor. And that will take you to the QSO-VLOG page, and on that page you'll find today's entry, which will be my group Aircheck 52419. My group Aircheck 52419. And also of note, this afternoon will be on 7188. As opposed to 7189. We're going to test on this frequency and try to guard the RV service net up on 7191, I believe it is. So we'll see how this goes, and if all goes well, we'll probably pretty much be on this frequency TFN. So this is KC9VKV and the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG network. If you've got a radio you want to check out the audio, give us a shout. This is KC9VKV.
November X-ray 1 Quebec.
Station Quebec, come back with a call sign again, slowly, phonetically.
November X-ray 1 Quebec.
Roger, roger. What's the name there, sir? November X-ray 1 Quebec. What's the name, sir?
Sorry, I missed that. Name is Don, Delta Oscar November, about 20 miles south of Atlanta. And you have a strong signal here, over.
All right, you're done. I missed that. What's your location again?
Just south of Atlanta, about 20 miles.
Roger, roger. Now, we're running 4 SDRs this afternoon. We're running Rochester, New York, Raleigh, North Carolina, Arlington, Virginia, and Milford, PA. So I haven't run those through. I'm getting about a 6 over on your signal right now. Come back and give me about 10 seconds of audio, and I'll look around and see if I've got a hotter SDR. Roger?
Yeah, sure.
SDR, roger.
This radio up, so well, plugged in yesterday anyway. The 7300 I picked up. Forces right out of the box, so it should be pretty good on the audio. But I'm running it through ALS 600 at the moment, so which is relatively new. It's only been used a little bit, so. But I think I got some settings dialed in okay. It's just that takes a couple lights and all the
Don, you went into my noise level. You were giving me about a 4 dB over, but you did go into my noise level that time. So conditions right at the moment are not good down towards Georgia. Roger, roger.
After you start up, you can't get hold of you, so I'm sure you'll be busy. Roger.
Right now, you just came up about 10 dB. You're about a 10 over now. What radio are you running, sir?
It's a 7300. I just got out of the box yesterday. Tried to dial in the settings last night to make it sound okay, but the monitor function on it is pretty horrible. So I'm probably going to go ahead and have my son transmit a little bit on it and run some web SDR in the background and see how it does. Probably okay though.
Roger, Roger. Got a good copy on you now. Let's see if we can get started real quick here. I recommend running that compressor at about a 3 out of 10. If you can get to your compressor, engage it at about a 3 out of 10. A 3, Roger?
Yeah, roger that. I tried that last night. It seemed a little, through the headphones I was wearing, it seemed a little overdriven, so I put it on a 2, but I just put it on a 3 right now. Is that any different?
Looking good. Now, you're running the stock hand mic, Roger?
Yeah, at the moment I haven't hooked up the Pro 6 to it yet at all.
All right, and operating that microphone, the stock hand mic, you want to put it to the side of your mouth and talk across it. You don't want to talk directly into it. I suggest you're going to have a long ways to go to beat the sound quality of that hand mic. The mic that you replace it with should be a condenser desk mic. Roger, Roger?
Yeah, roger that. I don't have one of those. I got everything else, but I think the headphones are. I can't remember.
Okay, I missed that last. I would suggest running that hand mic. Do you know how to get to your tone control?
Yeah, roger that.
I would suggest running the mic you have now at about 2 clicks boost on the top end side. Roger?
Okay, I'll make that adjustment. I think I have it at 0. No, I have it +1 on the treble and 0 on the bass at the moment.
Roger, I'd kick it one more on the top end, and then consult. We go to your ALC and take a look at what we got. So if you got a moment, crank that top end one more click on the top, and then go to ALC, and we'll see where your signal is. Last I copied there, you were towards my noise level again. So Mother Nature is kind of up and down this afternoon. Roger, Roger?
Yeah, roger that. I'm getting to the... there's the meter, okay. All right, so I put the treble at +2, and the compression is going anywhere from 10 to 20, which seems a bit high, and the ALC is about 80% up. Yeah, about 80% up.
Roger, Roger. Now remember, bring that mic up to the side of your mouth and talk across it. Don't talk into it, because you've got a lot of transients. You got a lot of noise, mouth noise and stuff. So if you bring it up to your mouth and talk across it, you minimize that situation. Now, you know, what I would suggest would be that you go down to your local music store and get a windscreen. They make them now. They're a lot shorter than what they used to be. They used to be about 6 inches long, but the ones today just fit over the top of the microphone. They're about 3 inches long, and that would just go right over that that hand mic, Roger, and that would solve all of your transient problems, Roger.
Okay, very good. Well, I think I know what you mean. I'm kind of talking across the side of it now, and it seems like the pressure line is a little gentler, and the ALC is maybe, I don't know, 80% or less than 25, so I think that did something.
I didn't catch quite what your ALC was at mid-scale to 2/3.
It's probably about 75% of the, almost to the top of the red.
Excellent. I'm looking at your audio, and you have about a 2.5 to 3 dB dynamic range, which interpolates to around 80 to 85% average peak modulation, which is a nice fat signal, Roger.
Roger that. Wow, you have that down to a science, obviously. I have taken a little bit of a look at some of your stuff that you posted, and yeah, that's quite extensive and quite a bit of effort. So big thank you there.
Roger, Roger. I would say that you're probably the 170th 7300 that we've set up. We locally, they call us Dr. VKV. I just put a little signage up on the studio there, Dr. VKV, because we do usually know the answers to a lot of questions, Roger.
Oh yeah, you're dealing with the similar situations in radios, and that's great. You know how to deal with each one. And of course, this model, has become just so well known, so ubiquitous that lots of people are going to have them. I think everyone wants one, right? If not for their regular radio, then for some kind of alternate to play around with and see how it sounds. It does sound very good on receive audio. Back to you.
Roger, Roger. Well, the thing about that 7300 and the 7610 is that they have what I call a stonewall limiter. The limiter is a very good limiter, and you can push it pretty hard and not have any distortion, and it does an amazing job. That's actually the thing that makes the signal so fat. 3 dB is, if you consider that the normal audio without processing runs 10 dB, approximately 10 dB, with an average peak modulation of about 30%. So what we do by the time we finish setting up that radio, you're running probably about a 3 dB dynamic range and about a 80 to 85% average peak modulation, and it's a very loud signal, but it's pleasant. It's not pushed. It doesn't sound like it's you're going to jump off a cliff the next second.
Yeah, roger that. I have a friend who has one for the last few months, and I think including him, everyone I've talked to, they say put the mic gain down a bit, but I think it's right at default right now, which is of course 50.
Roger, yeah. If you keep an eye on your ALC, and you want to make sure that you don't go into the red, you can go 50 to 75%, no problem. But you don't want to go into the red. Now, sometimes mobiles do have a tendency to push that red line a little bit, and even doing that, there's very little distortion. It just gets fatter. But for a bass operation, I do suggest mid-scale to 2/3. Roger.
Yeah, roger that. Even when I speak as loud as I can, it gets to about 80% of the where the red is going to stop. So I think we're good there. I am surprised though to see the compression like last night. I don't think it was like that, but it's flashing all the way to 20 plus here and there, but probably between 10 and 15 when I'm talking normally.
Roger, Roger. Well, we just adapted 3 out of 10 on the compressor because if you hear a compressor working, there's too much. It's too much. That's why we chose a 3, because it doesn't. You can't really hear it working. It just does its thing, which is the beginning of the that 3 dB dynamic range target that we're looking for. Roger.
Yeah, roger that. Sounds good. Well, probably a line is forming by now, so I think I will let you get to it.
Roger, Don. And your call. Give me your call again.
It is NX1Q, November X-ray 1 Quebec.
Gotcha, sir. Thank you very much, and you have a real good Friday afternoon and a great weekend. Sounding good from Atlanta. This is KC9VKV, the QSO-VLOG program, today operating on 7188, down 1 click from our normal 7189. We're trying to see if we can give the RV service net a little guarding as far as frequency-wise. They're 3 clicks up, and so we want to try to be a good neighbor, and so we're going to try to run the 7188 provided there are no problems. So this is KC9VKV. If you've got a radio you want to check out, give us a shout.
Romeo.
Station Romeo, I've got you on the Milford, PA SDR. Come ahead.
KC9VKV, this is KM4POR. Good business there. I've checked in with you before, testing the Icon 7300, and been using those settings, and just wanted to check back in and make sure the conditions hasn't changed there.
Oh, you're sounding beautiful, sir. Sounding beautiful. What's the call one more time?
That is Kilo November 4, Papa Oscar Romeo.
Roger, sir. What's the name?
What's the name?
Name on this end is Jeff. Juliet Echo Foxtrot.
Roger, Jeff. Yeah, sounds beautiful, sir. How's your contacts been going?
Unbelievable. I've only been a ham here since October of last year. Got my extra. finished that up in April, and I've made 72 contacts, DX overseas, and a lot of local, and they really brag on the audio on the ICOM 7300. So thanks to you and those advice and so forth and the settings on the ICOM 7300, it appears to be doing the job.
Thank you, sir. Yes, you do have the radio of the century, which always helps. And the beautiful part about it, like I said, that radio is the Stonewall limiter, which when you're in ALC, you're looking at the output of that Stonewall limiter. So just to familiarize you with the flow of the thing, the ALC is looking directly at the output of the Stonewall limiter. So sounding good there, Jeff. So let me say threes to you, sir, and you have a real good afternoon and a great weekend, Roger.
Roger. Yeah, Roger. Same to you there, Jim, and 73s to you, and thanks for that great advice, and hopefully you'll help some others there.
Roger, Jeff. Threes that way, sir. This is KC9VKV and the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG program and network. And we're currently on 7188, and I think that we'll be using 7188 TFN and give our RV service net a little break there. There are a few clicks up, and so we shall see. Trying to be a good neighbor in the neighborhood. A beautiful day in the neighborhood. Anyway, we are recording now live till 5. If you've got a radio that you want to check out the audio, give us a shout. And we are recording, and then we'll post it up on YouTube. And if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that will be our QSO-VLOG page, and on that page you'll find a vlog called My Group Aircheck 5/24/19. My Group Aircheck 5/24/19, today's date. This is KC9VKV.
Portable, November Oscar 3, Kilo Portable.
Portable station, come back with your call sign again, please.
Roger, this is November Oscar 3, Kilo. We're actually QRP Portable in Georgia. Back to you.
Well, how QRP are you, sir?
5 watts with a 897, connected to a picnic table and a NSED wire that's running anywhere from 3 feet to 10 feet off the ground. Back to you.
Roger, well, amazing job getting in with 5 watts. What's your location, sir?
The location is Points West Military Campground in Augusta, Georgia, just outside Augusta, Georgia. Back to you.
Georgia. Well, I'm picking you up on the Rochester, New York SDR. You're doing about a 4, which is a good signal for 5 watts. Any signal I hear at 5 watts is great.
Yes, this is old radio. It's old tech. It's operating off the internal battery pack, and we just wanted to throw it out there and play with it a little bit. But I'm intrigued to see what it's like, so I'll get on to the website and see.
Okay, so you're starting to fade. Give me your name real quick, 2 or 3 times. Give me your name, Roger.
Roger, the name is Rick, Romeo, India, Charlie, Kilo. Again, Rick, Romeo, India, Charlie, Kilo. Back to you.
Got it, Rick. Thank you very much, sir. And that radio's doing you a great job, Roger. Rick, let me say threes to you, sir. Thanks for checking in. And if you get a chance, check back in next Friday and tell me what you've been up to. So we'll say threes for now, and you have a real good afternoon, a great weekend. This is KC9VKV, your QSO-VLOG network, and we are recording between now and 5. If you've got a radio that you want to check out, give us a shout. KC9VKV. Well, we ran through all 5 of our input selectors and did not have a copy on anybody. We're running, obviously, our local radio, and we're running SDRs from Rochester, New York, Raleigh, North Carolina, Arlington, Virginia, and Milford, PA. So this is KC9VKV. Try again. I think I heard a Kilo 2 in there.
America, Denmark, America, Kilo 2, Alpha, Delta, Alpha.
Kilo 2, Alpha, Delta, Alpha, Roger?
Roger, Roger, Roger.
What's the name there, sir?
The name is Andy, Alpha, November, December, Yankee, Andy in Ocala, Florida. Ocala, Florida. Jim, go ahead.
Roger, Roger. Well, it seems like we're going south today. What radio are you running, sir?
I'm running the same radio that everybody runs, Jim. It's the 7300 right out of the box.
Oh, roger that, roger that. Now, let me ask you, you're running about a 3 on your compressor, about a 3 on the compressor?
Yes, sir. I heard the setup of the first QSO today, and I have mimicked those settings. The only difference is I am using an ICM desk mic from Heil.
Roger. Well, I would suggest on your, you know how to get to your tone controls?
Yes, sir.
I would suggest 2 clicks off on the bottom and 1 click up on the top. 1 click boost on the top and 2 clicks roll on the bass. Okay, I'm copying you at about a 5 over. We'd like to get a little bit better signal there to, I think that's good, but you know, you just need to hear it a little cleaner. So give me about 15 seconds and tell me about your antenna system, Roger. Andy, you never came back up signal-wise, but I think you should be great. That should be great right there. You know, if when you change from your hand mic to your desk mic, you really have to push it a little bit on the top end because that hand mic is an electret, and it's just does just a beautiful job, you know, when you talk across it as opposed to into it. But you know, when you replace that, then you need a little more top end EQ to try to duplicate the great sound of that microphone, Roger.
Roger, Roger. Is the ICM desk mic not also an electric? It's not a dynamic mic, is it?
I'm not real sure, but it just did not have the clarity that the hand mic does for whatever reason. Did you say it was a condenser mic?
It was my understanding that it was. I know that it does use the voltage. I think it might be electrolytic, right? Because it does use the voltage.
Roger. It could be the way that one works the hand mic versus the desk mic, that it just doesn't normally have quite the top end that the hand mic does. And I'm sure it has to do probably with, you know, you're working that hand mic closer, and the top end might get a little bit more activity that way. I'm not real sure, but you're sounding, I just heard you pretty much in the clear there, about 6 dB above my noise, and it did sound really good, Roger.
You're hearing the same thing I am. Somebody's throwing what sounds like appreciate your help as usual. Thank you very much for being there.
Kilo number 4, Mexico, Ocean, Germany.
Andy, you say threes to you down that way, sir. And yeah, next Friday, if you can, come back in and give us a shout and let us know, what the response is. And we will be posting this up on YouTube in the next couple of days, so you'll have an opportunity to hear it that way. Like I say, conditions were not good this afternoon, so I'm doing the best I can under adverse signal conditions anyway. But if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that will take you to our QSO-VLOG page, and on that page you'll find today's QSO-VLOG, which is my group Aircheck 52419. Again, the Aircheck is called My Group Aircheck 52419. So threes to you there, and you have a real good weekend. This is KC9VKV and the QSO-VLOG network. Today we're on 7188. So normally we were on 7189, but we're just kind of testing 7188 to help our RV service net guys on up the channel just a tad. So if you've got a radio, you want to check out the audio, give me a shout. KC9VKV.
Kilo number 4, Mexico, Ocean, Germany.
Kilo number 4, Mexico, what?
Kilo number 4, Mexico, Ocean, Germany. K4MOG.
Roger, and what's the name there?
Roger, name is Gene, Germany, England, Norway, England, and northwest of the FLEQ 6400, but what I wanted to check was the SDR application on my cell phone. Over.
Roger that. I'm copying you probably about 10 over on the Milford PA SDR. So are you on that now, or you have to go to that, or what?
I will have to go to that. I just wonder how this sounds. The Maestro controlling system. Over.
Is that the Maestro 6600?
No. That's just the separate Maestro controller. I decided I wanted to take it with me when I go to my summer home this week, or for a couple of weeks. So I didn't get the 6600. Thought about it, but I said, hey, just get the Maestro and I can take it with me. Over.
Roger, what radio are you actually running?
Well, it's the Flex Radio 6400. Over.
The Flex 6400, Roger.
Roger. Flex Radio 6400. And we're running the ACOM 1500. And a double zip antenna with Johnson kilowatt matchbox tuner. Over.
Roger. Come back and tell me about your antenna for about 10 seconds. So let me get your audio in the clear there a little bit and hear it.
Okay, this Kilo 4 Mike Oscar Golf, Marietta, Georgia. The antenna fed with open wire feeder. And it's a double zip, and the feed line is being matched with the Johnson kilowatt matchbox. Over.
Roger. Now look like you're about a 2 dB dynamic range, so you might check your ALC to be sure that you're just mid-scale to 2/3. You might be just a tad hot on your ALC. Roger.
Roger. I don't think it's ALC because I don't have that hooked up. I think it's strictly the compressor in the Maestro setup.
Roger. I don't know if you can that you can deactivate the ALC. I think that may be a fixed item, because without that you have no control as far as your sidebands are concerned, and I'm sure that I don't think you can defeat the ALC, but I could be wrong.
No, typical linear has a hardwired ALC. Your rig is supposed to generate the ALC bias, and then it gets applied to the radio.
Roger that. Roger that. Well, my signal's not. Good signal to me is 10 over. If I get a 10 over, I can get in there and know exactly what's happening. But right now you're about a 6 or 7, and so it's right there at the point. But like I say, you do have a 2 dB dynamic range or thereabouts, and usually most radios when you're at that level, unless you're running just a tremendous amount of compression, and usually the thing is that the compressor is a slow attack, slow release, and so even at that point you can do a ton of compression and still not come up with a 2 dB dynamic range, because it just can't do that. I mean, it doesn't attack quick enough, and it doesn't release quick enough. About the only way that you can get up in those areas, that much crunch in the audio, is through limiting. So the limiter, the difference between the compressor and the limiter is that the limiter has an extremely fast attack and release time, and that's how you can build up that into that 2 dB dynamic range. So usually when I see 2 dB above 2.5, then I'm looking probably at perhaps the AOC being pushed pretty hard. Roger.
All right, Roger. Roger. Well, okay. I've gone into the menu setup. I was on the DX setting, which I seem to like, but I was on the DX setting. Now I'm normal, and my audio is not being compressed as heavily as it was. Over.
Yeah, it looks a lot cleaner that way. And to me personally, I love a fat signal, but I like a fat signal with finesse. So you're not really. It doesn't sound like you're up against the wall. You're just fat.
Okay, so given that you don't have the signal you'd really like to make the call, what do you think the dynamic range is now? Over.
I am looking at your audio on a VU meter, and I can see how that meter reacts, and I see that last transmission was about a 3 dB dynamic range. Roger.
Roger. Roger. Okay. Well, let me cut all processing off just a minute. Okay. Processor is off. Kicking only maybe 300, 400 watts average of it.
Roger. Name here's Jim, Juliet, India, Mike. And the thing is, I'm looking at like I say, a VU meter, and I've got noise, so I can't really tell what your lower end is. In other words, I can see, you're at least 4 dB above my noise, so I can see if your signal is dynamic range is 4 dB or less, but I can't tell you exactly how less, since noise is there. And what I'm doing is I'm looking at the peaks of your audio, which are set for 0, and then when you cease speaking, I'm looking at my noise level. And right now, like I say, you're doing me about a 5 dB, 4 dB over my noise level. So when you cease speaking, my meter drops to a -4, and so those are I can't really tell when you get to a 10 dB dynamic range, which is the normal situation for an unprocessed signal. Roger.
Roger. Roger. Okay. Well, now I understand what you're saying, and yes, I would agree with you that trying to diagnose any sort of dynamic range with only sort of 4 dB headroom between the noise and the peak of the signal would be impossible. So yeah. And, maybe I can find you one day when the 40 meter and all the rest of the bands recover, and we can try it again. What I'd like to do is go on my cell phone. I'm going to have to cut off the Maestro, even though I'm supposed to be able to handle 2 inputs. I don't. So let me cut off the Maestro and I'll come back on the cell phone, okay?
Roger that. And like I say, you know, I can see clearly when you get up to a 2 dB dynamic range or a 3 dB dynamic range, I can see that perfectly. But when you're like a 10 dB dynamic range, I can't see that bottom end because of the noise. But go ahead and run the other radio and or audio input, and let's see what that does.
Good.
Bottom end kind of fell out, and when I was hearing you, I thought you might be slightly low on frequency. We're on 7188.0000.
Okay, kilo number 4, Mike Oscar Golf. Probably need a little more. I got a tuning knob here on the cell phone, but you know, you gotta press the screen, gotta press that screen to set it up.
Roger. Now my signal to noise is you're about a 3 dB over. The audio didn't sound muffly. It sounded pretty good, as much as I could hear. Roger.
Roger. Roger. Okay. Well, this is Kilo 4. I got your call. Located in Maryland, Georgia. And this is the one that costs $59. It's been installed on your cell phone, and theoretically you can go all over the world and get back on it.
You caught me on a cup of coffee. Hang on just a minute. There we go. Check your ALC with your new setup and make sure that your audio is up where it should be. Just curious if you know you were hot enough on that new setting, new situation. You know, but your ALC will tell you exactly what you need to do there. Wanting to run mid-scale to 2/3. Roger.
Roger. Roger. Okay. Let's see. I need to run the RF power up just a little bit. That seems to be one of the things that's a little low. And let's see here what I've got on compression. Okay, looks like I've got level 1 compression and just barely getting into the compressor now with this particular stuff. This is Kilo 4 Mike Oscar Golf.
Roger. Yeah, it's sounding pretty good, you know, and you do want to probably not compress a bunch for a remote incoming signal because, you know, you are subject to the noise gods as you hang out with, you know, out in the far-flung distances of the Earth. So, yeah, you know, hey, you don't have, you know, a lot of soundproofing there probably, and so you wouldn't want to be sucking up the cows in the South 40, Roger.
Roger. Linear tipping supply, that's pretty good. And I just wondered about the temporary talking into the base of the cell phone. I don't to it. Or what might be so to get the push the start switch on the screen, I've got to keep it away from the face. Over.
Roger. Again, Gene, I can't really hear it that well, but I think you're you know, doing a good job there. If you want to check out your audio as near as what I can hear, if you went to YouTube and did a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that will take you to our QSO-VLOG page, and we are recording between now and 5. So on our VLOG page, you'll be looking for an Aircheck called My Group Aircheck 52419. My Group Aircheck 52419. Roger. And let me give you the call again. It's Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. Let me drop down to 100 watts, and you can see what's happening here. We're at 100 watts right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is 100 watts, and that's a KW. So that's what I'm facing. Roger, Roger.
Roger, Roger. Okay, Roger. Well, give me your information. That's all I'm asking for. Just give me your information.
Roger. You go to YouTube and do the call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, and that'll take you to the our QSO-VLOG page. And on that page, you'll be looking for a QSO entitled My Group Aircheck 52419. My Group Aircheck 52419. Roger.
QSO-VLOG, but for my group, 52419. Roger, Roger. Thank you very much, Jim. Over.
Roger, Roger, sir. And that's 52419, today's date. So we'll say 3s for now. Thanks for checking in, and maybe we'll have better conditions next Friday if you wanted to give us a shout. Always like to get the best recordings possible, but Mother Nature sometimes has other ideas. So 3s for now, and you have a real good Friday afternoon and a great weekend. 3s. This is KC9VKV and the QSO-VLOG network between now and 5 live. We're recording from 3:30 till 5, and then post the whole thing up on YouTube. And incidentally, it does take a couple of days for us to post it. We usually are sooner than that, but I just want to give myself a little leeway there. So we just say within a couple of days we'll have it posted up on YouTube. And that would be for the call letter search, KC9VKV, and the today's QSO-VLOG is entitled My Group Aircheck 52419. This is KC9VKV.
This K4MOG.
MOG, come back with the call sign again.
This K4MOG. I was just asking, how long are the recordings? How long are the recordings? Break.
Well, an hour and a half. We record live continuously from 3:30 till 5, and so your part in it will be as long as you talk. There are no cuts, Roger.
Oh, okay, 2 hours. All right. Well, thank you very much, Jim. And 73. From Kilo 4, Mike Oscar Golf.
Roger, Roger. Well, actually, it's an hour and a half, 3:30 till 5. And that's about my limit. I mean, I turn into a pumpkin at 5, Roger.
Roger, know exactly what you mean. Can only take it for so long. Kilo 4, Mike Oscar Golf. Go with it.
Roger, Roger, and Mike Oscar Golf. What's the name there?
Yeah, Roger. Name is Gene. Germany, England, Norway, England. Germany, England, Norway, England.
Oh, Roger. Yeah, we checked in earlier, Roger.
Yeah, Roger. I was just asking you that follow-up question, Jim. 73. K4MOG.
Roger on the follow-up call. I'm lucky to be handled the first one, 3's that way, Gene, and have a good afternoon. This is KC9VKV and the QSO-VLOG network. If you have a radio that you want to check out, we are recording between now and 5. Also, if you have a radio you would like some assistance in setting up to have a nice, very legible, articulated audio, and with about a 3 dB dynamic range, which is nice and fat. We're about an average peak modulation of about 80%, somewhere in there, 85%, with a 3 dB dynamic range. So this is KC9VKV.
VKV.
Again, nothing heard on the SDRs, and matter of fact, I have my Arlington SDRs bit the dust. I'm not sure why that is, but it probably, you know, a lot of these SDRs are timed, and if you don't have the password, you've got to do a reset, and that Arlington SDR is a PC in my bedroom. So much for that. But what I've tried to do is create a grid across the southeast United States, from Rochester to Raleigh, and then Arlington and Milford, PA, kind of the southeast USA. And so, you know, we're trying to augment our local antenna, which is around Louisville, Kentucky. And if we can help get those 100 waters in a little bit better, that's what we're trying to do. This is KC9VKV. That's what we're trying to do. This is KC9VKV.
This is N8YHP.
YHP, come back with the call sign again, please, slowly, phonetically.
Yeah, November 8, Yankee Hotel Papa. The name's David. I'm in West Virginia.
Roger, David. What radio are you running, sir?
I'm running the ICOM 746 Pro and a Silver Eagle D104.
Wow, that's the best D104 I've ever heard. Usually, now that must have the preamp built in on that D104, Roger?
Roger on that. It has the FET preamp built in.
Yeah, absolutely, because that microphone without that preamp is pretty much sheet tin, because it's such a high impedance transducer that it really needs that FET preamp high impedance to match. Roger?
Roger on that. I think your name is Jim. I've been listening here for a while, and you have very good audio here. I'm running just the 0 on my equalizer there, and just D104 straight into the radio. So that's the station here. Horizontal half wave at 50 feet. So that's the antenna here. Thank you, Jim.
Roger, David. Well, that microphone usually does have some artifacts. It does have some upper end artifacts that are more pronounced when there is that mismatch between the high impedance diaphragm and the I'm getting strange messages on my my SDRs. Not sure exactly what's going on there. Anyway, but your situation there is just absolutely perfect. That's just the best possible connection that you could make on that audio situation.
Okay, Jim. Yeah, I turned the amp on here. Running an 811H amp with 4 572Bs here. So thanks for coming back to me there, and thanks for the good audio report. I have had other very good reports on this, so thought I'd let you hear it here. So have a good one, Jim. I'll go ahead and say 73s. Have a good weekend there. KC9VKV, N8YHP.
Now, David, don't keep those surprises in the closet. You got to start with those, you know.
I heard that, yeah.
Great sound. Great sound. Have a good day, man. You be proud of that station. This is KC9VKV and the QSO-VLOG network, and we're recording now until 5 live, and if you've got a radio you want to check out, give us a shout. KC9VKV. Mike Alpha X-ray. Now my mouth is in head of my writing. Come back with that call sign slowly, phonetically, please.
Kilowatt 1 Alpha X-ray.
Roger. What's the name there, sir?
The name is Max, M-A-X, Mike Alpha X-ray. And we have a 7300 here, a very old one. As a matter of fact, one of the first ones they made a couple of years ago. And I'm listening to your settings that you've given others, and I think this one is set properly. Can you verify that?
Well, is your compressor set at 3?
It is.
All right. And what mic are you running?
I'm running an ICOM desk mic. I think it's M10.
All right. Can you get to your ALC meter?
QSL.
All right. On your ALC meter, as you're speaking next transmission, take your mic gain control and adjust it for mid-scale to 2/3. Roger.
Okay, mine is set lower than that right now. You're saying get it up a little higher?
Yes, sir. You want to run your ALC at mid-scale to 2/3. Not in the red, but mid-scale to 2/3. Roger.
Okay, I'll reset that. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. And you said you got a dozen people calling you, so I'll reset that. Thank you. Day 1, MAX.
Well, Max, if you got just a minute, go ahead and do that, and then we can hear what you're doing there. What is your mic gain setting right at the moment?
50.
That's a ballpark for that. I was just expecting maybe a little bit fatter signal, but I wouldn't know until you went to your ALC and see exactly what you're doing on that meter. All you got to do is just tap that ALC meter and bring it around to ALC. I mean, tap your multimeter around to ALC. Roger.
Okay, we got it around there, and it looks like it's up to about 7.
Okay, so if you look at the meter, is it mid-scale to 2/3?
Yeah, probably a little bit above that right now.
All right. Tell me about your antenna for about 10 or 15 seconds. Yeah, I'm not copying you at all, sir. Maybe conditions kind of took a turn, but come back and let me hear if I can see if I can hear you, Roger.
It's a sloper, an inset halfway millimeter sloper from 60 to 2.2 the top of the 66.
Yeah, not good conditions right now, and I have had a couple of problems with my SDR monitors, having to bring them back up again, and so when I don't have them available, I don't have the possibilities of optional receive points, which kind of I'm kind of used to that, and let's see here, still trying to bring this one up. Okay, I've got 2 of them up. Come back again and just talk to me for about 10 or 15 seconds, and let me run through these SDRs again, Roger. Roger, David, you are, about 2 dB above my noise level, and I should be able to discern what you're saying at 2 dB above my noise level, and I'm not. So I would say, what you might need is a little more articulated audio. I would take it a couple of clicks higher on the treble control. and see what that does. Let me drop down to 100 watts so I'll show you where we are. This is 100 watts, so I'm trying to hear your signal right like that. So that's back to a KW. So roger, roger. Roger, roger. Well, let me say, we'll say 3s for now, and maybe next Friday things will be a little bit better. Mother Nature is not particularly generous this Friday, but maybe next Friday she might be, and then we get a closer handle on exactly what that audio is. I think it's sounding right. It's hard for a 7300 to sound bad. I don't think I've ever heard one sound bad, but it can sound a lot better with a little TLC. So let me say 3s for now, and we'll catch you next Friday, hopefully. This is KC9VKV and the QSO-VLOG page. If you've got a radio you want to hear the audio, give us a shout. We are recording between now and 5. KC9VKV.
Whiskey 4 Alpha Tango Lima.
Alpha Tango Lima. Come back with a call again.
Yeah, this is Whiskey 4 Alpha Tango Lima. My name is Sherman, north of Atlanta, Georgia.
Now, Sherman down towards Georgia, that has a ring. And somebody else, I think Sherman was down that way. Is that a Roger?
No, I'm the only Sherman I know down here.
I was thinking back in the Confederate days, Roger.
Well, I didn't know you were that old.
Well, see there you go. What radio are you running, sir?
Okay, yeah, I'm running a Flex 6400 with the Maestro and a Heil Gold Line microphone. ACOM 2000 running about 1400 watts right now into a dipole about 50 feet in the air.
Oh, well, it shows for sure. And what was the radio again?
Yeah, it's a Flex 6400.
Yeah, I would love to get one of those. I would love to go to Flex and say, hey, listen, I've got this QSO-VLOG network, and I sure would like to show off your radio. I wonder what they would say. Get out of here.
They would probably quote you a price for one.
Yeah, exactly. Double the price. Anyway, that's a good-sounding radio, sir. Come back and tell me about your antenna. Let me enjoy the sound for a minute.
Okay, it's just a simple dipole up about 50 feet in the air. Here on 40 meters. I haven't had the Flex for too long. I got it at Christmas. Santa brought it to me. Replaced an old Ten-Tech Orion, and I've been playing around with the equalizer settings and was getting some settings off the forum, the Flex forum for Gold Line, and I think I've got it pretty close. So, but was interested in getting your comments and seeing if there's anything that could be tweaked with it, and also get a chance to probably listen to it on the YouTube channel too. I've also been listening on your YouTube channel. Looking at your YouTube channel, very interesting. This is W4ATL.
Oh, roger that. Yeah, I would be interested in maybe if you could crank in a couple of clicks on the bottom end. Just a couple of dB on the bottom end, and let's see where that goes.
Okay, let's see here. Boy, now I've got to find... okay, I found it here. Okay. I can click that's at the very bottom end. Let's do a couple clicks up. Okay, that's a couple clicks up on the bottom end.
Roger. I would... what kind of EQ do you have, parametric or what?
Okay, I'm clicking up a little bit more on the 125 there for you. I'm not sure the question is.
Do you have sweepable frequencies, or do you have dedicated frequencies like bass and treble like that?
It's about 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like an 8-band equalizer that I'm tweaking. So I went up a couple notches on 63 hertz and a couple notches on 125 hertz.
Yeah, I would put that 63 hertz back to where it was. That's so low that all it can do is cause trouble. It's not really part of the audio spectrum as regards to amateur radio on a normal basis, and the only thing that 60 cycles can do is cause problems. That's my philosophy anyway. I look at the bottom end somewhere around 150 cycles as being, the bottom end. But I wanted you to crank in just a little bit of bass so we could go back up to the top around, well, you don't want to boost your mid-range like around 1K. I usually keep my mid-range flat between 1K, 1.5K, 500 cycles in that area. I just keep those controls in the flat because when you start boosting those, the bass and the treble have so much a harder time keeping up and actually making a difference. So if you just run your mid-range flat, then you have your top and bottom controls have more authority. Roger.
Yep. Okay. Very good. Okay. Well, I've come back down on 63, and I've got a couple up on 125. So you should have a little bit more bass now, and I haven't touched anything else. So the mid range is essentially flat, and I've got a little. This goal line likes a little highs on there, so I've boosted the highs around 2 and 4K.
Roger. I would go. Do you have a 3? Do you have a 3?
A 3. I'm not sure what that means.
A 3KC boost area? Or are you at, well, what I'm looking for is a little articulation, a little more articulation in the syllabic range. So if are you in the all you can be window as far as the radio is concerned? You're to 1 to 2900 or that way?
Yeah, 2K and 4K is up fairly high. I can go a little bit higher on 2K and a little bit higher on 4K. So that's a little bit higher on 2 and 4K.
All right, I would pull back actually the 2K, and I would increase the 4K. What I'm doing is trying to get the syllabic range, the S's, to come forth. Roger.
Okay, so I went back to where 2K was and increased 4K, just about the maximum now on 4K.
Roger that. That dynamic microphone, like I say, that is a dynamic mic, Roger.
Yeah, just a high gold line in the wide position.
Roger. Well, it sounded pretty good there. Before we're kind of fully up towards that upper mids area, so it did sound a little piercy, but we brought those mids down a little bit, increased the bottom a little bit, and we're trying to. Is there any way you don't have let's see, your controls up at that top end are 4K and 2K? Is that the way that goes?
Yeah, I got 1K, 2K, 4K, and 8K on the top end.
Roger. Well, I never hear 8K. What's the max range of your radio as far as your width, your bandwidth?
Oh, that's a good question here. Let's see if I can go back up on here. I think, I don't think this screen on my Maestro has that. I'm not sure. I think I've got it 3K on the bandwidth, but I don't know exactly where the low end and high end cutoffs are.
Roger that. Well, I think 3K. Everybody should operate, like the 7300s. They're running 100 to 2900. So 2900 3K. But I don't think you want to go over 3K because you encourage. What is that? Win, lose friends and influence enemies.
Yeah, that's right. Unfortunately, with this Maestro, it's like different screens for different things on the mic. I'm not really sure why that is, so I'm trying to get back and forth. Okay, here we go. The low end is 100 hertz. The high is 2900.
Yes, excellent. That's exactly where I would run that radio. That's a beautiful setting there, and that's why a lot of folks run it because it does give you a little bit of roll off there before you get out to 3K and start knocking on somebody else's door.
All right, well, Jim, well, thank you very much for the tweak, and look forward to getting your upload there and seeing how it sounds. The KC9VKV, W4ATL. Thank you, in 73.
Roger, Roger. Before you run off, I did hear a tinge of distortion, so check your ALC to be sure that. Well, check your compressor to be sure you're a 3 out of 10, and then check your ALC to be sure that you're not in the red, because that did sound like a little overdriven distortion, just a tad there.
Okay, it might have. Yeah, it is. I'm gonna have to back down the mic gain a bit. I may have hit it when I was going into the transmit menu. The mic gain and the transmit menu button is right at the same one. I just have to push in the mic gain, and so I think I cranked up the gain a little bit, so it should sound a little bit better now. I'm below the red.
Roger, Roger. Yeah, sounds great. All right, 3's that way, sir, and give me a shout next Friday if you get a chance, and we'll compare notes as to what you've been up to, Roger.
Roger, Roger. Will do. Thank you. 73. This is W4ATL.
Roger, Roger. Sherman 3's that way, sir. Have a good afternoon, and catch you later. This is KC9VKV and the QSO-VLOG network. From now until 5, we're recording live. And if you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout. KC9VKV. I heard somebody back in there. Somebody give me a call sign again. November 3, Romeo, what was that? Still having problems with the last two phonetics, Roger.
Okay, switch antennas, how's this? A3RTD, Romeo Tango Delta, over.
Yeah, leave it there. I could copy the mail on that one. What's the name?
Shane, Sierra Hotel Alpha, November Edwards. Been a while since we talked, but good afternoon.
Boy, you speak fast. About 3 times faster than I write. What was the name again?
November Edward, S-H-A-N-E, Shane, over.
Roger, that's what I thought it was, and that's what I got down, but I wasn't for sure. Well, listen, where are you, sir? I was picking you up a little bit on the Raleigh, North Carolina SDR. Come back and give me about 10 or 15 seconds there, and let me look around and see if I can find a better SDR. Roger, Roger.
Absolutely no problem copying you at all, and I can get 3 of my antennas, but I can understand propagation sometimes is one-sided. Kilowatt Charlie 9, Victor, Kilowatt Victor, November 3, Romeo Tango Delta. Back to you.
Roger, Roger, Shane, you are running neck and neck with my noise level. Let me go down to 100 watts so you'll see what I'm faced with here. This is 100 watts, test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 100 watts on the KC-VLOG network, and now back up to KW. Roger, Roger.
Roger, Roger, I'm running 100 watts. Yeah, you did get a little weaker, but I have no problem copying you at 100, over.
Oh, you could copy me well at 100 watts? Wow. I'm copying you, looks to be about 3 dB above my noise level, Roger.
So let me try the North Stockton again. You say you're in North Carolina, over?
No, we're around Louisville, Kentucky. We're just across the river from Louisville, Kentucky and Indiana, Roger. You've slipped down now to about 1.5 dB above my noise level, so I don't think we're going to be able to work it out at this point. Maybe we still have 20 minutes to go, so maybe conditions will get a little bit better, and if so, then give me a shout again. So, but until then, we'll say threes, and you know, you have a good day. And like I say, if my signal comes up to you, probably your signal will come up to me, and give it another shot. Roger, Roger.
Roger. Hey, 73, you have a good one. We'll talk to you soon.
Roger, you did come up to a 3 over that time, but that I think was just a peak headed on the downside. So threes to you, sir. And sorry we couldn't get together, but maybe before 5, frequency may come back. Who knows? It's hard to tell. Mother Nature has a mind of her own, and she demonstrates that every time that we're on 40. I'm constantly amazed about you know, what she does. Hopefully, on the long term, conditions will get better on 40 meters, and you'll be able to use 100 watts at 500 miles and come in at a 10 or 12 over. Not today, but possibly in the future as the band continues to improve. I think we are towards the low side of the band cycle, and I think we are gradually working our way up to a better band situation, but who knows for sure. This is KC9VKV and the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG program network. If you've got a radio you want to check out, give us a shout. KC9VKV.
WA8 OPR.
The OPR station, I'm copying you on Milford, PA. Come back with your call sign slowly and phonetically.
Victor Kilo Victor, WA8 OPR, Whiskey Able 8, Ocean Papa Radio. Over.
Roger that. And what's the name, please?
Terry, and QTH, Detroit, Michigan area.
Roger, Terry. Well, I'm copying you fairly well on the Milford, PA SDR, probably about 6 dB above their noise level. Roger.
Okay, 6 dB. Well, let me switch to a different antenna. Maybe that'll help.
Oh, you did switch?
We are on a, that didn't turn out too well. 59 There we go. Okay. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. I got this all goofed up. Hold on. There. That should be better. Okay. There is a different antenna. I don't have the handle or the QTH. KC9VKV WA8 OPR.
Roger. Well, you are giving me now a 6 over on the Milford PA SDR. The name here is Jim Juliet India Mike, and the call is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, and we're located just across the river from Louisville, Kentucky. We're on the Indiana side of the Ohio River, right at Louisville. Roger.
Roger. That sort of thing. Giving critical reports. You're 15 over estimate. 15 over estimate. We're running at the moment a Kenwood TS870 and 170-foot end-fed wire up about 55 feet with counterpoised ground rods. I'm on an east-west end-fed. When I first came to you, I was on another 170-footer, but it was configured north-south. But you got a terrific signal up here, Jim. KC9VKV WA8 OPR.
Roger, Terry. Did you? If you told me, I didn't copy. What radio are you running?
TS870, old Kenwood from the 90s. Over.
Yes, you did, and I had it written down. It was just finding it that was my temporary problem, but I got you now. Well, gosh, things are sounding good there. Give me about 10 or 15 seconds on how the radio and what you like about it, and let me hear your audio.
Oh, okay. Well, I run a bunch of old Kenwoods, TS930, TS940, and this TS870. And no, I like the 870 very much. It's not as techy as the modern stuff, but suits my needs. I'm not sure what you're running there, Jim, but very, very nice copy up here. Back to you, Jim. Over.
Roger. Well, you have a nice setup there. Your audio is just absolutely perfect. You're running about 3 dB dynamic range, so your average percent of peak modulation is somewhere around 80-85%. So a nice fat signal and very articulated top end, which I love, because you know, when you can reach out and touch somebody like that, then you know their audio is just perfect. The radio here is an older Yaesu 990 that's pretty heavily modified, coming and going. Roger.
Running any power there, we're just running 100 watts here, and it's gas day in about 65 degrees.
Roger, Terry. We're running right at a KW on a Heathkit SB220. And so it's hanging in there, but I do love that 220, Roger.
Oh yeah, that is a great rig. I've got a old Warrior H810 Heathkit precursor to the 220, to the 200, which is made in the middle 60s, and I've retired that. That's not doing anything right now, so about 2 years ago I finally got the amp I always wanted, which is the TL922. I've got that one warming up. I would be very interested to see what my report is with that old girl. I'm on QRZ, and you can see my array of equipment, which is all old stuff with the exception of the Icon 7300, but your 990 sounds grand up here. And assuming you're running a kilowatt.
Yeah, Terry, I did lose you. I don't know. I guess the band just went limp for a moment there, but I did lose you in the noise. Yeah, this 990. The thing is, you know, it's modified in the in the transmit. It's initially was a 2.4. This 990 was a 2.4. Now it's about out to a 3. It's hopefully not over 3, but right at a 3. And the receive is modified to be flat within the spectrum, the base spectrum, from about 100 cycles on up to about 4 or 5. We did put a spectrum analyzer on it and tweaked a little bit there, and got that pretty flat through the range. So we're finding that there is a little discrepancy between the SDR's audio and our audio, but I'm thinking that it is it's in the bottom end, and it's around 150 cycles or so, 200 to 150 cycles. The SDRs seem to be not quite there. And I know that my 990 is flat down there because you know, I'm looking at the you know, the audio of the pass band, you know, and so it's showing that it's just fairly linear through that audio range. Roger.
Roger. Very good. What's the antenna you're running, Jim? Over.
I'm sorry, try again.
Your antenna, over.
Roger. The antenna is an inverted V. at about driven at about 35 feet. And it is running an SWR of 0.01. Roger.
Roger. Okay, there we go. There's about, hold on, let's see, 1 kW, Jim, KC9VKV WA8 OPR.
Oh, Roger, we keep pulling these things out of the closet. We need to start with these things.
Don't quite understand what you mean by that. You mean I should have gotten on the air at full power, over?
Of course, best foot forward and all that stuff, you know. If I got it, I'm going to use it. If I got it, I'm going to flaunt it.
Okay, has my signal strength improved down there, over?
Yes, sir. You're 7 dB over the Milford PA SDR, Roger.
Roger. Oh, okay, very good. Well, I said all this equipment is pretty old, somewhat antiquated, but you sound very good. I don't want to hold you too long because I'm saying that something's going on at 5 o'clock, so if you've got to run, I understand, Jim. KC9VKV, over.
We usually just run till 5 or, you know, a little over. That's not a big deal. I have you copy now on my local antenna, and your audio is just beautiful. I think you got a good handle on that. That dynamic range looks to be about 3 to 2.5 dB, somewhere in that area, Roger.
Okay, you know, I'm not even sure what that means, and I've been ticketed for 57 years. I just never pay attention, Jim. Don't know what dynamic range means in that context, over.
Okay, think about it this way. Unprocessed audio, which is, you know, you're just looking at somebody talking into a microphone, is about a 10 dB dynamic range. In other words, if you're looking at the output of an amplifier with somebody just speaking into a microphone normally, that meter is going to be flopping around there, and the difference is, when we say dynamic range, it's the difference between the loudest signal and the softest signal. Audio. So when somebody's just speaking into a microphone and you're looking at it on a VU meter, they're going to have approximately a 10 dB dynamic range. So then as you start to process that through compression and a little limiting, then you start reducing that dynamic range from a 10 dB to about a 3 dB, which I consider a 3 dB dynamic range just perfect. It's a lot fatter, and it has more punch to it, but it's clean. It's not distorted in any way, Roger.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks for that explanation. You'd think after all these years I would have run across that, but I haven't. Okay. Very good. Well, I wish I had... I've got some recording equipment here, but it's all very primitive, so probably wouldn't do much good for me to play you back. But you sound wonderful here. That inverted Z is doing great, and okay on the mod of 990 to 3 kilohertz bandwidth, and sounds good. Okay. I guess that's it. Like I said, I have heard you before, Jim, but very, very nice, pristine signal. Back to you.
Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate that. And your signal also is just great. So let me say 3s for now. Thanks for checking in. And if you get a chance, join us next Friday. We're only on Friday afternoons, and that is between 3:30 and 5. And we do record the whole time and then post that whole recording up on YouTube within the next couple of days. So if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that will take you to our QSO-VLOG page, and on that page you'll be looking for a QSO-VLOG entitled My Group Aircheck 52419. My Group Aircheck 52419. So 3's that way, and you have a real good afternoon, Roger.
Thank you, Jim. All right. 7 3s to you, and have a nice holiday coming up. Catch you later. Bye now.
Roger. And that was Terry. Is that a Roger?
You have it, Jim.
Great. 3 to see you, sir. Have a good afternoon and a great weekend. This is the KC9VKV, the QSO-VLOG network. If you've got a radio you want to check out, give us a shout.
Kilo Charlie 9, Alpha
Delta.
Something Delta?
Yeah, the call here is Whiskey 9, Delta, WYAD.
My goodness, we have 2 Deltas. I don't know how to, loudest one, come back.
Kilo Delta 8, Whiskey
Kilo Delta 8, what was that? Try it again. Let me search through the SDR, see if I can find a better signal. Go ahead. Give me about 10 seconds. All right, I'm on my local antenna, which is, you give me about 2 dB above my noise level. I think I could help you there if you've got just a moment. Come back and tell me what radio you're running. Okay, I'm copying you on my local receiver, and you are, like I say, about 2 dB above my noise level, and I should be able to hear what you're saying. But I hear you, but I can't, the audio isn't quite as articulated as it might be. Come back and tell me which radio you're running.
Hello. I'm running an IFFY 7300, over.
7300, is that a Roger?
Roger.
Okay, go to EQ and, tone control, and dump off about two clicks on the bottom end, and bring up about 2 clicks on the treble. Dump about 2 clicks off the bass, and increase about 2 clicks on the treble. Roger? Roger, Roger. Now stand by. Go ahead and do that, and then come back, and we'll see what we need to do next. This is KC9VKV and the QSO-VLOG network. Between now and almost 5, we're slowly turning into a pumpkin, but we're going to try to help this gentleman come up on his transmit proficiency just a little bit. KC9VKV is standing by.
Down on the bass, and I'm up all the way on the treble, and my transmit bandwidth is wide on that IC7300, over.
Roger, so you are in the 100 to 2900 bandpass?
Roger.
All right, do you have your compressor inline on and at a 3? Get that compressor engaged and add a 3 out of 10, Roger?
This is TD8ZWIRE3 with compression now at 3, over.
Roger that. Now tap your meter and go to ALC. Bring your meter around to the ALC position, Roger.
Roger, and I'm at ALC. I can see the ALC displayed, over.
Roger, Roger. Now put your hand on your mic gain control and bring your mic gain to where you're driving your ALC at mid-scale to 2/3. Mid-scale to 2/3 on your ALC, and adjust your mic gain control to do that. Roger?
Oh, Roger. I'm adjusting the mic gain now. Adjusting the mic gain, continuing. And the mic gain now at 95%. And just running the Heil ICM microphone, over.
Roger. Yeah, we're getting a little fading in and out, but from what I can hear now, I think you're running about a 3 dB, 2.5 to 3 dB dynamic range, so you're just about perfect, Roger.
Okay, well, very good. Thank you,
And I'm learning a lot as you have me adjust my radio there, over.
Roger, roger. So you can hear yourself on YouTube. If you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor. That will take you to YouTube, and you do they call it a search, KC9VKV, and that'll go to my group Aircheck. And on that first page, usually, you'll be looking for QSO-VLOG entitled My Group Aircheck 52419. My Group Aircheck 52419. Roger?
And I appreciate having giving me comments. It's kind of a rare thing, and I definitely appreciate you taking the time and calling me over.
Roger, roger. Glad to do it, sir. You have a real good rest of the afternoon and a great weekend. And if you get a chance, drop back by next Friday between 3:30 and 5. Say hello and let me know what you're doing. So right now we are turning into a pumpkin, and so we got to go. We appreciate everybody that participated in our QSO-VLOG network, and like I say, we'll be back next Friday at 3:30 on this frequency, 7188. We had been for a long time on 7189, but we're trying to give our RV service net a little space there, and so we dropped down 1K down to 7188. So with that said, we'll bid everyone adieu. You have a real good Friday afternoon, good weekend. We'll catch you later. And with that, this is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, clear.
Alpha Charlie 3, Delta Bravo.
Alpha Charlie 3, what?
Hey, it's Alpha Charlie 3, Delta Bravo.
Roger, roger. Well, hello there. Who is that?
My name's Aaron. I just caught the tail end of your net, but I wanted to say hi. You have a good signal here in Pittsburgh.
Roger that. I thought you were Canadian. Anyway, thanks for the shout. Three's that way up in, did you say Detroit?
It's Pittsburgh.
Oh, Roger, Pittsburgh. All right, sir, sounding good. Yeah, sounding good. And so I'm still rolling, so you'll be able to hear your good signal there if you go to YouTube in the next couple of days. And look for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, and then that'll take you to the QSO-VLOG page, and on that page, look for My Group Aircheck 52419. Roger?
Yeah, I got it. Thanks a lot.
Roger, roger. Tell me about your antenna. You get a little more audio out of you there so we can justify being here. What's your antenna system?
It's an 80 through 10 end fed from My Antennas.
Well, gosh, and what's your SWI? Give me a little bit more audio, man. You got a great signal.
It's my SWR is flat on this band.
Roger, roger. Yeah, it might be just a tad hot into your ALC. It looks like your dynamic range is somewhere around half a dB, Roger.
Yeah, Roger. I don't think I'm quite tuned. I just wanted to catch you on the end of the net there, but just wanted to tell you sound real good here, and thanks for what you do. It's a good service to everyone.
Roger, thank you so much, sir. And I hope you have all the information to be able to hear your great audio, Roger.
Yeah, I do. I'll look for it. Thanks again.
Roger, three's that way. Have a good weekend. And this is KC9VKV. And again, we are turned into, gosh, I think a pretzel now. We'll catch you guys later. This is KC9VKV, clear.